Hello, it's Lyndsey and David. All right, we're gonna wait just a couple minutes and see
if everyone's here.
See if everyone's here. You kind of got this video thing down, don't you? Here, what are you doing? Do you want to work on this one now, or do you want to do this matching game?
Matching game.
Yeah. I'm just gonna check and make sure that everyone can hear us and everyone can see us.
Hey, everyone can see you like that.
Can you see me?
Nope.
All right. Here, do you want to get started on this? Or do you want me to show?
I'll have the matching game.
You want to do the matching game? Okay. So real quick, while we're waiting for a couple people to get on, David's going to start this matching game. And they're little, these were weather flashcards that we found. And so there's tornado and sunny and foggy and hail. And I printed out 2 copies and copies. You know what a copy is? 2 copies, and then we're gonna flip them over and you're gonna find their matches. And you could color them or you could print them off in color, but we did not. So flip them up all upside down, and then you're gonna have to try and match them up with each other, okay? All right. I'm Lyndsey. I'm one of the owners of Mid-Michigan Moms, and I'm a homeschool teacher. Homeschool mom. And I've been homeschooling for a couple of years. And since you guys have been out of school, we've been doing some videos just to kind of give you something new to do and try and share and talk about fun stuff. And David learns from it, and so it's helpful for us too. So we're talking about, what were we going to talk about today?
Extreme weather.
Extreme weather. And what does extreme weather, what does extreme mean?
I don't know.
Extreme means kind of like out of the ordinary. Maybe like unusual or something that doesn't happen very often. So which type, can you name some types of extreme weather?
Tornado.
Tornado, what else?
Thunderstorms.
Thunderstorms. Yeah, that's a great idea. Look at that.
Windy.
Wind, and this is at the beach. So what kind of extreme weather would that be? Hurricane. Okay, so the ones we were going to talk about, and there are a lot, and extreme weather can kind of correlate too with some natural disasters, which we will talk about just a little bit. So there are tornadoes. This is a blizzard. There's hurricanes, thunderstorms. What's this? What happened? This is like a heavy downpour. It caused a flood. And hailstorms, which kind of happen with thunderstorms too. So do you want to talk about tornadoes first, buddy?
Yes, tornadoes.
A little bit.
Not if you say anything about them blowing my buddies away.
Oh, so the other day we were learning a little bit about tornadoes, and David was kind of upset because I haven't done a good job of teaching him about tornadoes apparently, and I told him that if there's a tornado nearby, we need to kind of drop everything we're doing and go. We're fortunate enough to have a basement, and go to the basement. And we can't stop and grab our buddies and our lovies and every toy that we own. We just have to make sure that we get safe. And so that was kind of traumatic for him. So what's a tornado? Tell me. You can kind of see the picture right here. What's a tornado? And so it's a big, tall column of air that's swirling and twisting around itself. Okay. And tornadoes only...
I like spinning in a circle, right?
Yeah, if the air is twirling. And what happens? What kind of air needs to be present for a tornado to happen?
Cold air and warm air.
So cold, dry air and warm, moist air, they'll kind of collide with each other, and they will start to twist around each other, right? They're swirling around each other.
Yeah.
And
in a circle. Wee.
Good job. And they keep spinning, and the horizontal spinning forms this funnel, and it comes down and touches the ground. And as it moves, the tail kind of whips around, and what happens to anything in its way? Well, it could, yes, the tornado creates a vacuum, so it sucks things in, but then also it just, depending on how strong it is, it can destroy things. So it could pick a tree up out of the ground by its roots. It could kind of rip apart a house or pick up a car. What was that thing that wasn't, it was kind of silly but kind of sad. What did you see that tornado picked up? A cow. Yeah, so you want to make sure your animals are safe too.
And I want to tell them about that. Lucy's tornado wasn't really strong and nothing got blown down.
So David's talking about this really cool tornado simulator that we found, and in our post, I'll include a link to it, and you can create, so tornadoes, you guys probably know from the movie Twister, are measured as an F0 up to a F5. And it depends on how fast they're moving and how wide they are, how wide the column of air is. And so that will depend how much destruction they cause. All right, that's good. Do tornadoes occur everywhere? No, they have to have certain conditions and weather for them to happen. There's a part of our country that gets lots of tornadoes. Do you know what we called that?
What?
It was called Tornado Alley. And so Tornado Alley is where the tornadoes most frequently occur. And do you know what states that was in? So it was like the bottom part of South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. And it's interesting, I grew up in Nebraska, and so I thought that tornadoes were just something that happened everywhere, because we had like going down to the basement in the middle of the night during a tornado was like just kind of something we did. I can remember just so many times my parents just grabbing me in my blankets and we were heading downstairs. And so I lived in California for a little while, and I was like, oh, you guys don't have tornadoes here. I mean, not very often. And so if you hear that there's a tornado nearby, what should we do? Grab our stuff and go downstairs, right? If you don't have a downstairs, where should you go?
A room with no windows.
A room, an interior room, so a room that is on the inside of your house. And like you said, it doesn't have windows, so like a closet, or like in our house, we have a bathroom that's like on the inside of our house. Good. And if you're going downstairs, you want to stay away from any windows or doors, and going underneath the stairs is a good spot to go. All right, good job, buddy. Do you know how fast the fastest tornado ever recorded was? 318 miles an hour.
Oh, wow, that could suck up a whole bunch of grass now.
Yes. You know what? I was reading something that some of those tornadoes are so strong and fast that they can take little pieces of straw, and shoot it into a tree trunk, and it will stick into the tree trunk. That's how fast and strong the wind is. Isn't that crazy? Yikes. All right. And so, is that funny? David has been doing this thing lately where things are so funny, he just falls to the ground laughing. All right, buddy, do you want to show everybody the tornado that your dad made for you?
Yes.
I'm sure that everybody is super familiar with the 2-liter tornado. And this is just the easiest thing in the world to make. I had to laugh at my husband because he wanted to make it very complicated with like zip ties and like rubber gloves and things to create this seal. And I said, no, you just masking tape it, right? But he didn't want to believe me, so we let him make that the one with the seals and the gloves. So what do? You fill it up about 3/4 of the way with water, And it's fun to add some food coloring because you can see the differences. And you tape them together and you keep taping until you don't have any leaks. And we also put a washer in between the two bottles, and that kind of slows down the water flow. And then what do? You tip it upside down and you spin the top bottle, and it makes a ta-da! Do you love it?
And the bottom looks like a fountain.
And the bottom looks like a water fountain. You know, that extreme water fountain. Good job.
I like the water fountain.
You like it? Do you want to do it one more time?
Yes, one more
One more time. And you just spin it really fast. And there you go. Tornado.
Look, a fountain.
Ta-da! This has been very entertaining in our house. I highly recommend that everyone go immediately and make themselves a tornado. And teach your oldest child how to use it so that you don't have to do it every 30 seconds. All right, perfect. Okay, the next...
Again.
I don't think people wanted to sit and watch the tornado, buddy. But we can do it again in a little bit, okay? So, the next, let's talk about thunderstorms. What are thunderstorms? We'll do hurricane next. Let's do thunderstorms.
Okay,
So, what do you know about thunderstorms?
the thunder is electricity.
Mm-hmm. Do you need help?
Yeah.
Okay, so thunderstorms themselves is just a big storm from a big cumulonimbus cloud. It's one of those big puffy, fluffy, pretty looking clouds, like big pile of marshmallows.
Yeah.
And they can produce strong wind, heavy rain,
And lightning bolts.
and lightning and hail. So what causes the thunderstorm?
All that stuff.
So unstable air and moisture and warmth. And so what happens is they come together, and then there's lift. So it lifts the cloud up. Come sit down. Come sit down. And as the air rises, it becomes more unstable, and it creates the thunder. And so how is lightning caused? Well, stop, buddy. So as the thunderstorm is developing, there are little ice crystals. Stop. There are little ice crystals in the clouds. And as the storm is getting bigger and rises heavier and becomes more unstable, they start to collide into each other. And as they collide into each other more often, they create the thunder, they create the lightning, and they are charged positively and negatively. And the positive charges go to the top of the cloud and the negative go to the bottom. And as they are wanting to attract each other, and there's also items on the ground, right, that are charged. So people and trees and houses. And once there's enough attraction, the charges zap and crack and will strike.
What?
Whatever it is the nearest. So it's usually, so it would be like the tallest things for us. So tall trees or buildings or houses, they can get struck by lightning. Do you think it would hurt if you were struck by lightning?
Yes.
Yes, it would.
How do we take cover from lightning?
Absolutely. So if you're outside and you see a lightning storm or a thunderstorm, what should you do?
Go to the basement.
Go inside. You don't need to go to the basement. Should you go wait underneath a tree? No, because if the lightning struck the tree and the tree smacked down on you, that'd be bad, right? What if you're swimming in a pool or in a lake and there's a thunderstorm? Are you safe?
No.
No, because if the lightning strikes on the other side of the lake, the current will travel across the water and it could hurt you. And actually, more people get hurt by getting struck by lightning all year than people get hurt by tornadoes and hurricanes. So it happens more frequently than you would think. What is something else we talked about that can be created in a thunderstorm? What's this?
Hailstorms.
Little ball of, so hail, and what is hail?
Little ice crystals.
Little balls of ice. Do you think it would feel good to get hit by ice? No, hail is very damaging. Hail can damage your vehicles, and it can damage plants and trees and buildings, and it hurts. So how big do you think hail is? Little? No, on average they're about less than an inch. But the biggest piece of hail ever recorded and found by a scientist, guess how big it was?
What?
8 inches around. So an 8-inch sphere. What do you think that would do if that like hit the windshield of a car? It would break it. So if it's hailing a lot, what do you think you're driving? What do you think you should do?
Turn around and go back home.
Well, you wouldn't want to go back home, but find somewhere safe to go, right?
Yeah,
Get somewhere safe.
Yeah.
You'll see cars sometimes will park underneath bridges, or you could go park. I mean, if you're close to home, you could turn around and go home, but you would want to stop driving though, because you also might not be able to see the road very clearly, right?
Yeah, what if you just took like this far from the garage? You would have a little bit of time to get back in.
Yeah. Yikes. And you probably wouldn't want to run in it, would you? All right. What haven't we talked about? Oh, so also with these thunder...
Hurricane.
Okay, hurricanes. All right, what's a hurricane?
I don't know.
A hurricane is a huge storm that can be up to 600 miles wide.
Yikes.
And it is strong winds that spiral. You're very animated today. Spiral into a center. And what's the center of a hurricane called?
An eye.
The eye. And what's in the eye?
Clear.
Nothing. Yeah, it's clear. There's nothing happening. No wind, no damage to anything. It's very calm and quiet. It's kind of eerie. Okay, and so hurricanes form when over really warm ocean water, and it's when the air above the ocean water cools off very quickly, and there's lots of different circumstances that have to happen. There's also wind that's blowing in the same direction as all of this and the same speed, and it pushes the air up and out, and the wind flow outward above the storm continuously pushes the air out. And then it's moving along and gaining energy from the warm water. And then when it hits the land, it's not absorbing all that water. So then it's still windy and it's a big rainstorm. Do you think hurricanes are dangerous?
Yes. Dangerous than her.
Well, I don't know if they're more dangerous, but it just depends, because there could be lots of different situations. So if you know there's a hurricane coming, they move very slowly. They only move 10 to 20 miles an hour. And so you'll know that they're coming a couple of days away. What do you think we should do if we know there's a hurricane? Say we know there's a hurricane coming tomorrow. What should we do?
Well, if there's a hurricane coming, I think we would have time to grab our buddies and go into the basement.
We could grab our buddies, but we wouldn't want to stay here. So actually, though, do we get hurricanes in Michigan? No, we only get hurricanes by a big body of water.
Yeah. So, no hurricanes in Michigan.
The oceans. So what are the two oceans that are on either side of our country?
Pacific.
The Pacific and the... What's the other one? Starts with an A. Not Antarctic. Atlantic Ocean. All right. Okay. And what is another form? Okay, what is the most common form of extreme weather in Michigan? A blizzard. And what's a blizzard? A ton of snow with really strong wind and the snow falling very fast. And so it builds up quickly. And what happens in a blizzard?
Everything gets covered in snow.
So everything gets covered in snow. We might not be able to see well. There's strong winds. Should we drive if there's a blizzard? No, and we might not be able to drive if our roads are covered in snow, right? Yeah. Do blizzards happen a certain time of year? Like in the spring or in the fall? Probably just in the winter, right? When it snows. Yeah, because it needs to be cold for the ice crystals and the snowflakes to form.
What happened in
Wouldn't that be crazy? You love that? Okay, a couple of other things that can happen. A couple of other things that can happen that are kind of related to extreme weather, but that can happen as related to it. We talked about a flood. So a flood is when there's lots of heavy rainfall quickly, and rivers and streams and lakes overflow, and also the ground isn't able to absorb the water quickly enough. And so it floods, and it can come up as high as our houses and our cars. We can't drive through it because there's water everywhere. Yeah. Something else that can happen is we talked about volcanoes the other day. An earthquake. So earthquakes can happen because they're the shifting. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Sit in the chair. The shifting of the tectonic plates on the Earth's crust move together, and they can cause an earthquake, which is shaking of the ground. Earthquakes can cause tsunamis. What's a tsunami? A giant wave that comes crashing far onto shore, and when it pulls back, the water goes back out to the ocean, it kind of pulls and destroys everything with it. So that's not good. It's a giant wave. All right, something else that can happen is a drought. What is a drought?
I don't know.
A drought, so a flood can happen when there's too much rain. A drought can happen when there's not enough rain. All right. So then the other two activities that we did, are these the other two? What's this? Oh, we found these coloring pages online, and we can share this link with you. And David, as much as he is afraid of tornadoes, he tells me he likes to draw things getting destroyed. And then this extreme weather emergent reader. So this is really cute. There's actually 3 different versions of it depending on your kid's reading level. And this is the oldest of them. And so it goes through and it just talks, just a couple sentences, blizzard and flood, hurricane, ice storm and blizzard, and tornado. And then this one is really good, my extreme weather plan and checklist. And this is kind of geared toward hurricanes, but what I really think is great about this, and it was brought to my attention that we were not prepared by my son, is a checklist of supplies that you should keep, in your safety place. And so, get a waterproof container, like a plastic Tupperware container, and what should you have in your emergency supplies?
Medical kit.
A medical kit.
Snacks.
Medical kit. Snacks. What else?
I don't know.
Some water. Batteries and a flashlight.
Oh, sure. So we can.
A radio. Maybe some hand sanitizer. Anything you might need for your pet, or if you have a baby. Important documents. It kind of gets excessive. But if you're in a part of the world that has very frequent extreme weather, it will be a good idea to have that. There's also a family plan, so you can talk to your kids what you should do as a family in the incidents of a tornado or hurricane or thunderstorm.
Okay.
And then there's also sit down, please. And then there's also some games. So there's like a code cryptograph and some additional safety items and a crossword puzzle. And that's pretty much it. That's all we got. All right, David. I think that's it for extreme weather. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And let me know if there's anything else you want us to talk to you guys about. David really wants to show the tornado one more time. So we're going to do the tornado one more time. And then we're going to say goodbye. Okay, so 2 2-liter bottles, a washer in between them. The bottom one filled up with water, and I think we did like 6 drops of blue food coloring, and tape it until it doesn't leak. And I really didn't think it was going to hold this well, but we just used masking tape and kind of held it really tight and turned it. You flip it upside down and you twist the top bottle, and you twist it, and it makes a
tornado.
Cool.
I heard that you can also make a tornado with only one bottle.
You can make a tornado with 1 bottle. We didn't do that one. It's not as big though. But this is the one that is with 2, and it's kind of cool because then you can tip it upside down and do it the other way. All right, guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And if you missed us live, We'll post a link to the video, and we'll see you soon. Everybody take care of yourselves. Hope your journey with educating your children at home is going well. And just remember, tomorrow's a new day. Get through today and do something different tomorrow. All right, everybody, have a good afternoon.